At our core, we are a dedicated collective of individuals who refuse to turn a blind eye to the injustices plaguing the silver market. With a firm commitment to transparency and accountability, we shine a light on the practices of influential industry players who obscure the truth from the public eye. In today's silver market, the prevalence of paper contracts is undeniable. These instruments are leveraged to suppress silver prices primarily to serve the interests of the military-industrial complex. We deplore the corrupt nature of this manipulation, which punishes silver investors and serves to transfer wealth to the parasitic class, which is the ruling elite. Silverwars.org will systematically prove in 4 distinct chronicles that all previous silver data was an immoral ploy hatched to deliver low silver prices for the 2 most significant industrial users of silver, the defense and aerospace industries. Our journey began with discovering a glaring silver shortage concealed beneath layers of misinformation. The root cause? The military's insatiable appetite for cheap silver at the expense of trillions lost by investors in future generations. The national defense stockpile has been depleted since 2001, and crucial silver usage figures by the Department of Defense have been conveniently withheld from public scrutiny since 1995, when their last report came out. We refuse to stand idly as the foundations of sound money as enshrined in our Constitution are eroded. Money must hold inherent value, earned through labor and energy expended. Otherwise, paper money will only serve as de facto war bonds so the Federal Reserve and its complicit clients, military, legislators, foreign policymakers can profit from war. Today's monetary policy allows for currency creation out of thin air, devaluing our dollars and paving a perilous path towards fiscal irresponsibility. Our mission extends beyond mere critique. We strive to rekindle the spirit of the American dream envisioned by the wisdom of Austrian economists and even the framers of the Constitution. A dream where government fears the people, not the other way around. It's time to halt the perpetual cycle of war and restore integrity to our monetary system. Join us in our quest to reclaim the essence of sound money, hold our government accountable, and build a future where prosperity is built on principles of honesty, fairness, and resilience. Together, we can reshape the narrative and forge peace, prosperity, and a brighter, more equitable tomorrow. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning into your daily silver video. Folks, that introduction was from a website called silverwars.org. You can check it out yourself. This website shows the military's involvement with silver price suppression and how deep, how far back this really goes, with lots of data. They show all of these different time frames throughout history of what happened, how it happened, why it happened, when it happened. And it's very informational. This is definitely the missing puzzle piece when I was digging into the silver rabbit hole, or just trying to figure out why silver's price was doing what it did, or also, even more importantly, the silver shortage. Something was missing. And once we go through this website, everything will start to piece together and make sense. So with that said, make sure you click subscribe. I post daily videos. I go in silver rabbit holes. I post market updates, live streams, podcasts. I'm doing a silver giveaway very soon. So make sure you subscribe, because if you're someone like me who likes silver and wants updated on a daily basis, this is the channel for you. Now, this is the silver timeline. Starts at 1960, the Coinage Act of 1965, from Lyndon B. Johnson, saying, in the face of this worldwide shortage of silver, listen folks, 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson's already talking about the worldwide shortages of silver. and our rapidly growing need for coins, the only really prudent course was to reduce our dependence upon silver for making our coins. If we had not done so, we would have risked chronic coin shortages in the very near future. That's what kickstarts all of this. That was July 22nd, 1965. Now, they were keeping a very close eye on the amount of silver needed in military. And this is why you will start to see patterns. And these patterns are when they stopped sharing how much silver they needed or were using. This is a real statistic from the United States of America National Defense Silver Stockpile, starting in 1967 all the way to 2001. But Slayer, why does it stop at 2001? Because they stopped reporting entirely. And on this website, they show why. This is also another interesting piece of statistic. Department of Defense Silver Stockpile, 1972. You can see where it is, 9 million ounces, but 1995 cuts off. Same with Eagles, and we will go over the American Eagle program and what happened. Now, obviously, you see it starts at 1986 because we're talking about the American Eagle. In 2022, you could see. Now, we're going to, there's a lot to this rabbit hole. So what I'm going to do is show each piece of history, break it down, and by the end, we'll have a pretty clear picture of what happened. And then we could even talk about nowadays. We could even go beyond this time frame, this timeline through history, and go into nowadays the shortages of American Eagles, or nowadays what the silver shortage is looking like, or silver's use moving forwards with record-breaking supply deficits the last 4 years, and what that means for the price of silver, and most importantly, price manipulation. I mean, we're in how many wars right now? Silver is used heavily in wars. 500 ounces of silver in a single Tomahawk missile. So think about that, folks. Let's talk silver. All of you know these changes are necessary for a very simple reason. Silver is a scarce material. Our uses of silver are growing as our population and our economy grows. The hard fact is that silver consumption is now more than double new silver production each year. So in the face of this worldwide shortage of silver and our rapidly growing need for coins, the only really prudent course was to reduce our dependence upon silver for making our coins. If we had not done so, we would have risked chronic coin shortages in the very near future. That was from Lyndon B. Johnson. Then we have 1968. Remember and pay very close attention to the dates and what they are saying and who is saying it. I'll piece together, but try to figure it out yourself. You'll see very clear patterns and things will make sense. So check this out. 1968, 3 years later, National Security Agency, U.S. Department of Defense, the NSA Silver Recovery Program is created. The National Security Agency responded to U.S. silver shortage in the 1960s by starting the NSA Silver Recovery Program to reclaim silver from scrap and waste. So then we have, just a few years later, right? 1968, actually the same year, 1968, just a couple months later, 165 million ounces from the Treasury to the DLA. Now, the National Stockpile becomes the Defense National Stockpile Center. United States Treasury Department, transfer of silver to DLA's strategic and critical stockpiles. The Treasury Department executed the transfer of 165 million troy ounces of silver to the strategic and critical stockpiles under the management of the Defense Logistics Agency, or the DLA. This transfer, mandated by the Strategic and Critical Materials Stockpiling Act, signifies a significant milestone in ensuring national preparedness and security. The silver, sourced from Treasury reserves, was meticulously allocated to bolster the nation's critical material reserves. In compliance with the act, which traces its origins back to legislation passed in 1939, the Treasury Department coordinated closely with the General Services Administration to facilitate the seamless transfer of resources. This move underscores the government's proactive approach to safeguarding essential materials vital for national defense and strategic purposes. Now, you might have heard me say the saying before, silver wins wars, right? We need silver for war. But imagine with the silver shortage going on, imagine if we can't make as many missiles or anything. I mean, the satellite, silver's used for everything. Satellites, drones, anything you could think of, all military. So imagine if we are using silver for something else in replace of war. You can see how dangerous that would be and why silver for war comes first, and rightfully so. Now, 1972, a few years later, 8.9 million ounces of silver at the DoD. Keep paying attention to these dates and what's happening and who's saying what. Just pay attention. It's all going to start clicking. The U.S. Geological Survey Minerals Yearbook, the salient silver statistics. The U.S. Department of Defense stocks totaled 8.9 million ounces. This marks the first instance when the Bureau of Mines disclosed the silver stock numbers by the Department of Defense. Remember, 1972 was the first instance. Remember that. It's very important. That was the first time they reported, and it was 8.9 million ounces. Now we have February 16th, 1985. Naval Surface Warfare Center warns of impending silver shortages if batteries aren't upgraded. And it's kind of ironic because now we see the Samsung batteries being upgraded in today's day and age and how that uses even more silver. So history is quite literally repeating itself. So, Naval Surface Warfare Center Electrochemistry Branch. The power source needed for these new brilliant weapons will have to be satisfied by new battery technology. In addition to the stricter requirements, many of the materials currently used in batteries, such as silver, zirconium, nickel, etc., will have to be replaced in future batteries because of critical shortages are predicted if current use patterns persist. And they know what's going on. Now, here we go, 1995, right? And by the way, pay attention to what you see up here. Silver stocks stopped being reported on in 1996. Poof, no more information. 1995, the U.S. Geological Survey Minerals Yearbook, the salient silver statistics. This marks the last time the U.S. Geological Survey reports silver stock numbers by the DoD. Remember what I said the first time? 1972? 1995 was the last time we got any information. And that's why when we scrolled up here, you saw everything stops at 1995, right? Our stockpile, Department of Defense silver stockpile. Last piece of information we got was in 1995 about that. Of course, we have more updated numbers with eagles and maple leaves, but when it comes to military, nothing. We don't report it. So if we're talking about a demand of 1.2 billion ounces this year, when we're talking about EVs being the main sector, no, military is an even bigger sector, and aerospace, but they don't even report those. The Silver Institute doesn't even report those numbers. So if we're talking about a demand of 1.2 billion ounces, it's much bigger than that. Much bigger, which also means the supply deficits are much bigger as well. Now, 2002. The National Defense Silver Stockpile goes to zero. U.S. Geological Survey Minerals Yearbook, salient silver statistics. This marks the last time the U.S. Geological Survey Bureau of Mines reports the number of silver ounces in the National Defense Silver Stockpile. So that was the Department of Defense of here. Now we also have the National Defense Stockpile. No reports on defense silver stocks have been released since this report in 2002. Then the same year, this is where things start to get interesting. The same year, support of American Silver Eagle Bullion Act is introduced. This is something from congressional records by the Senate. June 11th, other silver mining states. It is my hope that the Senate will move expeditiously to consider and pass this legislation before the stockpile is deleted. The U.S. Senate addressed concerns regarding the imminent depletion of the U.S. government silver stockpile as highlighted in congressional record. Senators Crapo and Reed introduced support of American Silver Bullion Program Act in response to these concerns, aiming to preserve the American Silver Eagle Bullion Program. Same year, only 12 days later, Now it's passed. Congress passed that bill, what we're talking about. Congress finds that with the depletion of silver reserves in the Defense Logistic Agency's strategic and critical materials stockpile, it is necessary for the Department of Treasury to acquire silver from other sources in order to preserve the American Eagle Silver Bullion Program. And that's where this law comes in place, where we start outsourcing our silver planchets. We get it from Sunshine Mint, other mints. But we have to pay spot price. It's a law. Other mints don't have to. And that also leads into the numbers nowadays where we run out of American Eagles. In 2020 had to make an emergency 1 million mintage supply from the San Francisco Mint, and then then the whole shebang, and they had to cancel the Morgan and silver peace dollars in 2022 because they didn't have enough silver, and then they had to cap a certain amount the next year. That was that whole mess because the Treasury's only allowed to pay spot price, and we don't make our coins in-house anymore. We outsource our silver. U.S. federal authorities arrest Christopher Tappan for trying to sell 50 Eagle Pitcher zinc silver oxide batteries to Iran. I'm not going to go over that really. That's just something else. Now, June 2016, a lot of you might have been stacking silver during this time. The DoD Silver E-Waste Recycling Procurement Program under pressure as silver requisitions increase. According to DLA officials, requisitions for silver have increased since the end of the fiscal year of 2015, raising some concerns about how long the program will be able to provide this precious metal. And that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't take a genius or a rocket scientist to see that the supply is dwindling, and the amount of silver we need, and especially since they're focused so heavily on war, is a very dangerous situation. Whatever country has the most silver basically can win the war because they can make the most weapons of mass destruction, especially since silver's used in nuclear reactors. Now, this is 2021 to 2022, silver scarcity impacting the U.S. Navy procurement program. So Department of Defense fiscal year 2022 budget estimates Navy procurement. And this is 101B unit cost increases as a result of silver shortages at the Defense Logistics Agency, or the DLA, Precious Metal Recovery Program. Right now, the program's procuring silver at $30 per ounce, and you can see why, if silver were to rise to, let's say, $100, $200, cost of production would skyrocket. And that's one of their main points of why silver's price is suppressed, is because the amount of silver used in military, and military comes first. We are fourth class citizens in terms of the United States trying to stay on top of this huge power struggle, and there is a huge power shift happening right now with the BRICS and G7 and all that. So they go into 2023 March, silver shortage impacting U.S. Navy submarine. Then Kimmy Plattner blows whistle on Department of Defense silver shortages. This is very interesting. Eagle Pitcher, the leading manufacturer of batteries crucial for missile and space applications, admit to significant supply shortages of silver within the United States. They disclosed that acquiring silver from alternative sources has become notably difficult due to its diminishing availability. Where did silver come from that was mined for use in those batteries? We do have some local mines initially. Yeah, it wasn't prevalent, but we did have some. Of course, we had to outsource most of that for quite a while, but we do have some history, just wasn't as prevalent as lead and zinc. I'm being honest, not sure all of the sources right now, but silver is very hard to come by right now. So it is very much a diminishing supply. And so it's a growing concern on how much longer that's going to be available. Sources are limited. I've known we had supply chain issues since the pandemic. And yeah, that's when I really started covering it, was around that time. We're still talking about it. People are really trying to ramp up production, but in getting that source has been pretty difficult in terms of any silver, so it's a diminishing resource that has to be looked at. But I don't know where else we got it, to be specific. Interesting. And more to come. And then if you really want to, if you want to dive deeper into this, these are silver uses just at sea. Just see energy storage, ship power, submarines, sealed delivery vehicles, autonomous underwater vehicles, torpedoes, everything. And this is how, I mean, and the amount of silver used in these torpedoes is unreal. Unreal. This is all, and then think about this on a larger scale. Every country around the world, with so much warfare going on and so many potential future wars, all need to require more silver. Most silver comes from Mexico, Peru, China nowadays, you know, countries like that. So if they have all the silver and they don't want to share, they're at a huge advantage. Whoever has the silver wins the wars. So that is what silverwars.org is about. I hope this paints a little bit of a better picture of another angle at price suppression or the silver shortage and how scary this could be at the end of the day if we need silver to make, you know, to advance digitally, to make everything from EVs to AI chips to solar panels to torpedoes to rockets to satellites, but it's a dwindling supply. Then what's going to happen in like 5 to 10 years when it's gone? Remember, most silver's thrown away in landfills not to be recycled. So think about that and think about what that would do to the price. So anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe. Check out this website for yourself. If you like content like this, you know, I post daily videos. I'll always try to give you the newest, latest, most freshest, most up-to-date information in the world of precious metals. So like the video. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/silverslayer. You know, you choose different tiers. Join, you know, the Slayer Elite, the secret silver stacking club. It's just a way to support me. You know, I haven't posted in 5-6 months. So, you know, and this is my job. So, you know, it helps support the channel, help support what I do. You know, I put a lot of time and effort in this to make educational content for you all. And yeah, anyways, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I will see you guys tomorrow. Go check out my last videos I posted over the past week. Some good stuff as well. Peace.